moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Friday, 21st March 2025, and if you know anything about Friday 21st, the 21st of March, you know that we are celebrating and we are bringing awareness to Down Syndrome Day today. We're coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi, and this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, and my name is AMPLIA Holder, and we are here on the final workday of the week. I hope that you are ready to go, you're energized, and you have that energy to give it your all in your work today. Well, Akinlabi, if it's the last working day of the week, I wonder what the energy is on. What percentage is the energy on this morning? You have to find it. You know, I was sitting in the chair this morning and I'm thinking, I really need that shot of coffee this morning. Well, if you need coffee is the thing to do. That's right, but it's been a busy week. We came out of a busy weekend, and there were so many things happening in the week. The announcement, the new Prime Minister, cabinet, you see ministers being kind of moved around, and then the call for elections. So it was a busy week, including personal things that you'd have to take care of on the outside and stuff like that. So it really was busy around here, and so check your batteries and make sure that you're fully charged, especially going into the weekend. I know sometimes you might have personal chores at home to do. You have little projects around the community or whatever you want. That's right. So make sure you take care of you when you're going out this weekend, and that you have the energy that you need. Before we get into all of our conversations this morning, guys, we have to head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Adana, here is your news in 90 seconds for Friday, March 21st, 2025. Opposition leader Kamala Prasad Bissesa's call for independent international election observers has been approved. Prime Minister Stuart Young confirmed that the government invited CARICOM, the Commonwealth Secretariat, and the Cater Centre to monitor April 28 general election. Young emphasized that he had requested observers before receiving Prasad Bissesa's letter. He also rejected doubts about CARICOM's impartiality and reaffirmed Trinidad and Tobago's strong tradition of free and fair elections. Up next, on April 1st, Arthur Barrington will be appointed as the new head of the Strategic Service Agency, succeeding Bridget Jen Anthony Phillips Spencer, who will return to his diplomatic role. Prime Minister Stuart Young said the move aims to stabilize the agency, citing Barrington's intelligence experience. Former Director Major Roger Best was dismissed in May 2024 after a special branch report led to his arrest. And finally, Trinidad and Tobago will host the Carifta Aquatics and Athletic Championships over the Easter weekend. Athletics will be held at the Hasely Crawford Stadium from April 19 to 21st, and the swimming from April 19 to 22nd in Couva, and open water swimming on April 23rd in Chaguaramas. Officials stress the importance of strong local support as organizers express intense competition and aim to capitalize on home advantage. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. And, as I mentioned before, we had a really, really busy week this week. There were so many things happening, in the space, in the Tobago space. We're talking about, having that get together or conference rather, to show appreciation for the passers-by who assisted in, giving CPR to Mr. Battersby and, ensuring that, he's able to be transported to hospital for further care. As I mentioned, we had the installation of a new Prime Minister. We saw new ministers, not new ministers, but ministers being reshuffled a little bit, reassigning to different ministries. Then we saw, of course, the call for the election. We're hearing the feedback from the opposition leader in terms of asking for the observers, knowing that it is a necessity. So there's so many things happening in this space. for the entire week. And then, of course, today we are acknowledging and bringing awareness to and celebrating Down Syndrome Day. Of course, we have to lend support to those who are living with this condition and the persons who live with them in terms of providing that measure of support.
Yes.
And, I just want to take a little time out this morning to encourage our viewers and to encourage the general public to get some information and to kind of understand what this condition is and the type of support persons would need who are living with it, and not just the persons who are living with it. Sometimes we tend to forget the carers because it might be a parent, a sister, a sibling, a cousin, somebody who has to care for the person or lives with the person, or even in school or something, so you have to kind of be around this person and also give that measure of support. And sometimes they get neglected and you think that, well, you're normal. I mean, I don't know what is normal or abnormal, and so we have to think about all of these people. And I'm hoping that our viewers can really get the education, and societies in general, because there's so many stigmas concerning these types of situation, and we kind of want to break those barriers down so we can all live in a space where we understand each other and we can be there for each other and things of that nature. I don't know where you guys are where this is concerned.
Well, I fully agree with everything you said, particularly for those who care for those special needs persons. They tend to burn out a lot of the time and they don't have that kind of support. And because they are accustomed being so strong for so long, people take for granted that they're able to cope with the circumstances in which they're faced. And I think as an island, as a community, we need to keep them in mind. And whenever we can help and aid and sort of ease that burden, I think we should step forward and do that. So that means that we need to educate ourselves on how to identify somebody, because a lot of the times we see persons with special needs, particularly children, probably acting out in public, and we say, oh, that child just needs 2 slaps. Not knowing that it's probably a special needs child that really needs a certain type of attention or a certain type of leeway because they're, like I said, they are special needs. So we need to start to really do that general education on how to identify and treat with and think of these persons, perceive them in a different way, and also how to treat with them if their carers probably need some sort of assistance.
Well, I think the education is there, but as I want to piggyback on what you said in terms of persons taking care of persons with special needs, right, or with Down syndromes, as we are speaking about it. The support system, because in terms of one person that I know that has Down syndrome, her support system is very strong. So I believe support system for the persons taking care of these persons are also, needed as well.
And something you said also, Akinlabi, when we are in public and we see these the displays, because these persons who have special needs, and I know we are celebrating Autism Month is next in April, in fact, and especially those persons, there are certain things that they can't wear, there are certain clothing items that irritate them, they just can't, there are certain things they can't do, they can't write, they can't hold a pen, they can't, and sometimes when they go out, they get overwhelmed when there are too many people in their space, and so they will respond to their environment. And as you rightfully said, Akinlabi, some people say, you need to control your child, or you need to, without having the education, without having the being sensitive to the needs at that time. So I feel as if we can do more while the education is there. We can do a little bit more in terms of that public education drive, and also leaning towards empathy, being sensitive and showing that that we really do care, and it's not because I can manage a situation in a certain type of way means that everybody can manage it the same way. So we have to kind of get to learn each other and love each other. We live in a small space and we want to be able to embrace each other and make everybody feel as comfortable as possible, as long as they are law-abiding citizens and they're not, being a menace in society. Of course, we have to be there to support each other as much as we can.
Yes.
All right, so we're heading into the weekend, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I'm not going to ask what your plans are because maybe you might want to keep it a little secret. That's all right. That's okay. That's all right. But whatever you do, remain consistent, be respectful, and show love as much as you can. And if you can't be good, then be safe. Thank you so much, Bianna, for joining us on set this morning. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And we start off the celebrations by saying happy birthday to Miss Ruth Benjamin. Ruth Benjamin is celebrating a birthday today, and we say happy birthday to you, fine lady. We do hope that you enjoy your birthday. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we pray that even as you enter into this weekend, that the things are lit and you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday.
Happy birthday to Mr. Kevin Patterson, aka Pato. Happy birthday, Pato. We wish you the best for today. We wish you God's richest blessings. We wish you all the greatest of gifts. We hope that you take some time out to reflect on your past year. And we hope that you set a new course and a new chart for this year. And we pray God's richest blessings and all successes.
And finally, on our birthday rundown, we have Mr. Sheldon Irvin. Sheldon Irvin is also celebrating a birthday today, and we pray God's blessings upon your life. And we do hope that you have an amazing, amazing birthday and you enjoy everything that comes with celebrating a birthday today. And of course, if you are celebrating, even though we don't have your photo, we join in the celebrations with you. Whatever you are celebrating today or for the entire weekend, we say happy celebration to you. And we remind you to put God first. Include him in your celebrations, because I'm telling you, he is the sole reason why there's even anything to celebrate. Well, Akinlabi, we are in election mode.
Yes.
And so who are we having conversations with? I know the conversations, viewers, I need to tell you guys that you would realize conversations in studio and on set will, of course, we'll be talking about the things. We'll be talking about politics. We'll be talking about elections, preparations for elections. We're looking at the political parties to see where they are and, how the election runs. So, Akinlabi, having said that, who are we having conversations with this morning?
So this morning we're having a conversation with Miss Aretha Clark, and she's from the Tobago West. She's the Tobago West candidate for the Patriotic Front, and she's come to talk about change, no exchange.
All right, Patriotic Front. Let's tell the people who the Patriotic Front that party is. That's headed by Miss Michaela Pandey, isn't it?
I believe it is. Yes, it is in fact headed by Miss Michaela Pandey, and she put out a full slate of candidates, and the Tobago West candidate, Miss Aretha Clark, is coming to speak with us about changing the system and not exchanging for the other party that we already know about.
And I hear you saying Aretha Franklin there. What music you was listening to before you come to this morning?
Well, you know what?
What were you listening to?
Sometimes the names are just trigger something in here.
All right, okay, all right. I'll take that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have interesting conversations in studio. Sometimes you might see us on the outside, but just stay with us here at Tobago Updates Television, because we'll be bringing you coverage, all the coverage possible. We'll be bringing you all the conversations, all the information that you need about things happening in and around the Tobago. So whether you reside right here in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States of America, Canada, England, the UK, wherever you are, remember that this is an opportunity for us to say thank you, because you are the ones who have made us number one. It's because of you why we are still number one. So whether you're viewing on our Facebook live stream or on our YouTube channel on AMPLIA 102 or on floor 121 or 130, before you share the live, guess what? Up next and ready in studio to have the conversation is Miss Aretha Clark. Aretha Clark is here this morning and ready to have that conversation with us. But before we get to her, of course, we have to share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
the Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival. Feel the beat, embrace the calm. On Easter weekend 2025, Tobago is the place to be from April 17th to 20th. The rhythm, the soul of Tobago. On Thursday, April 17th, get ready for a worship experience at the Shore Park Complex with melodies from heaven. Melodies from heaven. Then on Saturday, 19th April, immerse yourself in the sun, sea, and sand at the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, featuring legends of R&B. On Sunday, 20th April, we bring the curtains down at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium for Fusion. Get your tickets on islandetickets.com now or visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversation this morning, but before we head on over, of course, you know we have the photo of the day. The photo of the day this morning. Can you guess where this photo was taken? Can you guess where this photo was taken? The photo was submitted by Terrence Onro. Terrence Onro submitted this photo. Can you guess where the photo of the day was taken? Don't forget, you can comment on our Facebook live stream and on our YouTube channel. Let us know where you think this photo was taken, and we will reveal to you at the end of the show. So stay with us right here. All right, it's that time of the morning where we get into the serious discussions, where we have the conversations. As you are aware, we are in election season. The bell has rung, and it is election is going to be held on the 28th of April 2025. That's the general election. And of course, we're going to be talking with the candidates. We're going to be talking with political leaders. And of course, we want to know what is happening, how prepared they are to take on the running of the country, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And in studio this morning, we have Miss Aretha Clark, and she is the Tobago West candidate for the Patriotic Front. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
Right. It's a pleasure to have you with us this morning. And as you know, we're getting ready for election, and you are the representative for Tobago West for the Patriotic Front. Of course, congratulations for taking on that feat. I know it's no easy feat, putting yourself forward for public office. Before we get into your role there, how did you decide, or how did you accept the challenge of putting yourself forward as a candidate for election?
Well, first to begin with, I was not into politics. I would campaign, I would, jump around. But there was a point where I experienced being victimized. And I said to myself, Aretha, if it is that you are one of the persons who put your finger towards bringing change, bringing new candidates, and they treat you in this particular manner, I said, something has to be done. So then I said, as a social worker, I have to learn to fight. As if I can't fight for myself, I can't fight for no one else. So I reflected. Two things happened. I got evicted by a politician out of my office at once, and then my salary was stopped for 5 months. So I said, but wait, we vote you all in for you to survive, and then you are depriving me of my honest dollar. And I said, no. I said, Aretha, that internally motivated me to say, here what? Go forward, give it a try, and let people hear who you really are, and let them see that you are the person that likes to stand up for others as well.
Right. Well, what a history, and I'm happy that we have that information as well. The political party that you're affiliated to now, I know that we could choose and decide and select whomever we wish to represent, or whoever we wish to represent us. And so you are a Patriotic Front.
Yes, I am.
Right? That decision too, I'd like to know how you were able to align yourself with that specific political party.
So since about 2022, I would have registered with the party, and I would have been following Michaela. So I would have been hearing what she's saying. I said, Aretha, you want to go into politics? I said no. But then I listened to her and I said, you know what? Empowered women empower other women. So I said, when I listened to her, I said, despite of what you went through personally, she has motivated me to say, Aretha, you need to stand up, speak out. So listening to her, monitoring her, watching her on social media, I said, Aretha, it's time for you to come forward to help make a change as well. So that's how I ended up getting. So I called, I emailed. She said, you're sure? I said, yes. And she said, so when I went into the screening, they were quite impressed. I had about an hour and a half of screening. I'm like, aren't they going to finish? But it was fun because they asked me a lot of questions about Tobago, tourism, history, agriculture, food, the economy. So I was able to answer at least all the questions, and they were very pleased with my answering. That is.
So, Ms. Clark, just tell us, from your perspective, what are some of the burning issues in the Tobago West constituency that you think needs to be addressed that isn't being addressed right now?
Yeah. Well, I will start with employment issues, because many persons are not economically stable because they're changing jobs, 3-4 jobs, and employment security, that is in particular, because I've noticed that persons are struggling to make ends meet. When you go to the grocery, you're seeing persons putting back things. I myself sometimes had to put back things on the shelf because cost of living has risen so much. It has pushed persons in a position that it's bringing us down to a lower end in the society. As well as, if you look right in front of the Port Mall here, we have an increase of homelessness. If you notice, a lot of persons are living on the streets, and people often think homelessness is related to drug use. It's not. Sometimes evictions and family issues. So I'm seeing a rise in that as well. I can't disclose where I work, but I work up with the elderly basically, and we are seeing a rise of elder abuse here in Tobago. And that rise is because we're not seeing family unity anymore. So we have seen a division in the community now, and it trickles down to the elderly, because if the elderly is suffering, then our youths are suffering too. talking about the youths, you're seeing issues of training. Many youths, not everybody can finish secondary school, not everybody can have a degree. So you're seeing many of our youths are lacking that little hands-on skills. No longer we have plumbers, no longer we have little mechanics. You have mechanics, yes, but you're not getting the skilled ones. So I saw that as an issue as well. And there's several others that I could explain and go into, but not too much detail, but go into. Yeah.
And how do you see yourself as a candidate? Let's say, for instance, you win the seat. How do you see yourself bringing solution to those issues that you have identified?
To start with, you have to listen to the people. So when you get out there and you listen to what their concerns are, because when you, like, for instance, when I was coming into the compound here, I was pushing the door. And there was a guy looking like a vagrant, my assumptions, and he said, no, you have to pass around. So you have to start with the people, see where they're at and see what solution, look at other international models, look at what other Caribbean islands are doing to rectify their problem, and then we take it from there. Once I'm elected, I am the type, I like to hit the ground. I'm not really office type person, I'm just simple. So I'm a person of action. So I like to see things happen. It can't happen soon, but once it started, I could help. I like to see things, I will help get it done, move things, that kind of way.
And what are some of the, talking about hitting the ground running, talking to the people, what type of research, what type of evidence have you gathered in terms of, because you have identified some issues that, of course, need attention. What type of research have you already done in terms of looking at international models and international standards and the way other countries might do things to bring that type of resolve to those issues? Have you done any research and gathered your information, and have you been able to say we can apply this model in the local space? Because I know there are cultural issues that might prevent something from happening in one space and happening next. What have you been able to do so far?
So I'll speak on the topic of domestic violence. Our liaison with an international organization, and we are focusing on looking at the correlation of custody-related matters and domestic violence. And research has been done. So currently there's a rapporteur who has put her statement before the United Nations. So when that happens, it will be more or less ratified. Trinidad and Tobago will be able to sign on. And that is to focus on how we protect young women and young girls at an international level. It gives us a chance to merge, to understand that Trinidad and Tobago is not the only country that faces domestic violence issues and an international issue. So internationally relates with other international bodies. But persons with disabilities, I studied at Caville. So I have friends over there, I have organizations affiliated with, and we could bring some of their models to help enhance Tobago's disability population, to improve their lives as well.
Ms. Clark, so let's say you win the seats and you end up in Parliament. What are some of the agenda items that you would bring to the Parliament to represent the people, not just of Tobago West, but of Tobago, because we know both Tobago East and Tobago West, they generally represent the entirety of Tobago when they're over there in the Parliament. So what are some of the agenda items you want to tackle in your 5-year term as a member of Parliament?
So I like to look at things legislatively. So first with the land tenure issue. There are sections of the law that prohibits us as Tobagonians from acquiring our grandparents' or foreparents' properties. So once those laws are amended, I would like to be part of that amendment, part of that discussion to put we Tobagonians, because in order for us to strive as Tobagonians, we need that land tenure security, and currently many of us don't have it. Many of us are renting. So that's one aspect. Then the proclamation of the Homes for the Aged Act. I have been part of that legislative Reform Committee in 2014, and that act has not been proclaimed as yet. So that is to protect persons in homes for the elderly, and we need to focus on that. Thirdly, I would love to focus on having a legislation, a green paper, white paper on the protection of the elderly in particular, as well as the amendment of the several clauses in that Domestic Violence Act that needs to be amended.
Okay, and I know you spoke about earlier about the breakdown in families that led to the abuse of the elderly and the neglect of the elderly, and well, we know children as well.
That's right.
What do you plan to do to really rebuild the family unit, rebuild that sense of community within Tobago?
Well, to start with, we need to have the youths involved, and looking at, we hear in the discussion of food card, and I remember long ago when food cards were distributed to the seniors, they were able to feed their children. So we have to either increase the pension, increase salaries, increase any sort of financial areas that we could help, disability, public assistance, pension, so that when persons get a little more income, they could enhance their lives. When it comes to children, we are seeing, we've seen the behaviors are changing, and we need to have more remedial programs. We need to have more changing the quality of how we look at things then and try to improve it now.
Right. And you know, talking about a lot of social issues, of course, because of your background in social work, and of course, you're also talking about legislation.
Yes, please.
The hot topic, or one of the recurring topics, especially for us here in Tobago, is the topic of autonomy. And what is your position where that is concerned, and how would you advocate to ensure that the conversation remains on the table, and not just the conversation, but a decision is taken to further the autonomy for Tobago?
Well, I start with this. Autonomy starts with us, yes, but we need to be liberated. If we are Tobagonians are struggling currently to survive, how can we fight for autonomy? So it is important to build Tobagonians first, stabilize ourselves, stabilize the economy, ensure that we have stable jobs, we have good tourism because people come in and say, but they want autonomy and they can't even help themselves. So to begin with, we have to start on the ground first, move up, and then we can have the discussion of autonomy, as well as we need to have a referendum. That is for us to focus on the people, speak with the people, because we don't want the top-down approach of politicians making the decision as to what autonomy should be. We have to speak with the people on the ground first, hear what their view, what they understand, what is autonomy first, before we could even go any further.
So do you think, based on what you're saying, do you think that we still have to do a lot of education in terms of what autonomy is before we bring back the conversation?
Definitely.
Meaning now that we're going to be pushing back
we have
the conversation of autonomy.
In order to go forward, sometimes you have to go back, reflect, and then go forward. Because going forward and you make mistakes, you said, oh, if we had gone to the people and discussed it, then we recognize, you know what? Let's reflect. So it's better to go back, 2 steps backward won't hurt you, and then you go forward.
So you raised the issue of us not being able to properly take care of ourselves, and in terms of our socioeconomic standing, a lot of persons socioeconomic standing on the island. And I know the Patriotic Front is putting forward 41 candidates. So let us assume that you win the elections, you form the executive, you form the majority in the parliament. What then would be the plan for the economy of Tobago to bring us up to that level where we could even begin to discuss autonomy?
We have to enhance the tourism first. Develop Scarborough. Everybody's saying develop Scarborough, but if the people in Scarborough are underdeveloped, we can't go any further. We have to look at, yes, we're talking about, we have a nice international airport. How are we attracting flights to come here? So we speak on tourism, but how are we attracting persons to come here? So there are many areas that we have to sit down and focus, think with the people, meet with the business industry, meet with the tourism industry, speak with everyone, and get from there, we know where we are going thereafter. Because we can't make a decision on our own. Because when we do make decisions on our own, there's where we have the economy falling down, this happening. We have to speak with the persons who are affected, and then we go forward thereafter.
All right. And in terms of rallying and getting yourself ready to go to the polls, as I said, April 28th, we have just about a month, about 6 weeks, I would say, before we get to the polls. What is it like in your community, your village, the people who are there to support you, advise you? What is it like there? What is the conversation like? And in terms of your personal self, how do you prepare yourself mentally to get ready to take the polls? Because the answer is either yes, you win, or no, you don't.
Yes.
So how do you prepare yourself mentally for either one of the outcomes?
In life, either you win, as I say, or you lose. If you lose, you move on. You win, you still have to move on. But you have to move on with support. Because moving forward, it will be, it takes a village to raise a child. Now, sometimes I go to my neighbors, I see those boys on the block, I said, I need a little help. And they give me so many ideas. Like one said, we have to boost the agriculture, boost this, boost that. So for me, continue living how I accustomed living, interacting with my fellow neighbors, friends, colleagues, everyone. I will maintain that, continue being Aretha.
And what if you are, if you are successful, what if you are not successful? Then how do you progress? How do you go on? How do you continue?
Still continue being Aretha, continue advocating, continue helping persons, continue being who I am.
Would you remain in politics?
Politics, I may consider THA election if that happens.
All right.
Because I know a lot of times persons tend to fade away from the limelight, from politics when they lose. So It seems as though you're a person that you're doing this for the long haul.
Yes, because I have started my own advocacy years ago when I had my own personal issues. And I remember a colleague in the Patriotic Front telling me, Miss Clark, I go on to Trinidad, I'm in Trinidad here and people know of you. So I'm like, okay, then it's good that people know of me in the past. They know of me as being a politician, and then they will know of me after whoever I become after that.
Yeah. Well, Miss Clark, whatever you do and however it ends, we do wish you the very best, and we do hope that you continue to advocate, win, lose or draw.
Yes, please.
And that you are able to represent Trinidad and Tobago, and more so Tobago, in all of your efforts as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Miss Arita Clark, and she is the candidate for Tobago West for the Patriotic Front general elections on April 28th. So you want to stay tuned to Tobago Updates Television as we bring you all the information as it relates to the progress leading up to and day of election as well. Did you guess the photo of the day? Were you able to guess the photo of the day today? Did you guess the photo of the day was taken in this is Castara Bay. And I see Miss Clark snapping her fingers here thinking, yes, I knew it was Castara Bay. How many of you were able to guess it this morning? And of course, the photo was submitted by Terrence Honora, and we say thank you for that photo as well. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, and in studio ready to have conversations with us is Tandika Moses, Tobago Cricket Association representative, and we're talking about Dream 11 in studio up next and ready to have that conversation with you. So you want to be here and you want to be a part of it. And of course, if you want to stick around, you have to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back. TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
the Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival. Feel the beat, embrace the calm. On Easter weekend 2025, Tobago is the place to be from April 17th to 20th. The rhythm, the soul of Tobago. On Thursday, April 17th, get ready for a worship experience at the Shore Park Complex with Melodies from Heaven. Melodies from Heaven. Then on Saturday, 19th April, immerse yourself in the sun, sea, and sand at the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, featuring legends of R&B. On Sunday, 20th April, we bring the curtains down at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium for Fusion. Get your tickets on islandetickets.com now or visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Dream big, Tobago style. The 2025 Dream 11 T10 tournament is back from March the 22nd to April 6th. Shore Park Recreation Ground is the place to be, where every ball is an event. There are 6 contenders vying for the top spot. No Man's Land Explorers, Pigeon Point Skiers, Store Bay Snorkelers, Kings Bay Royals, Pirate Bay Raiders, and Mount Irvin Surfers. Make sure to catch all the action. A product of the Tobago Cricket Association, taking you to the next level.
Morning, each and every one. And of course, thank you so much for staying tuned to Tobago Update Television. And now into the sporting segment. Yes, and this morning we're talking Dream 11 cricket. In fact, we're talking cricket on a whole this morning. And I have the General Secretary of the Tobago Cricket Association and set with me. I'm going to want to Ms. Tandika Moses.
Hi, good morning to you, Marcus.
Fantastic. And Tandika, just before we get into the discussion about the Dream 11, the all exciting Dream 11, I know people like to follow this Dream 11 cricket, T10 cricket, 6s and 4s and wickets, excitement. But obviously, we have a domestic season taking place currently here in Tobago.
Yes.
And I know a lot of persons may or may not be following the cricket, but it's very exciting times in Tobago with cricket in that sense. And just before we get into that discussion of Dream 11, if you could provide an update of the leagues and the tournaments that are currently taking place in Tobago.
Yes. So, unfortunately, we had the passing of our first vice president last year, Mr. Earl Arthur. So what we did, we had something in commemoration of him called the Earl Arthur Tournament. So it's something that we play 25 overs, one day team bats, the other team bats the other day.
Old time thing.
Old time thing, right? So we're helping the youths to develop with that structure, right? So we have Scarborough Basin Hall, CMB, we have Bago Gladiators, we have Airport Authority, we also have Roxborough Strikers and Tobago Police. So that's the 7 teams that we have in Tobago. Currently, Bago Gladiators have played 4 games. They have been unbeaten at this point, so they are at the top of the table with 8 points.
Right.
Currently.
Real gladiator stuff.
Yeah, real gladiator stuff, right? Proper shield up there, and then we have the 2-day competition, right? The same 7 teams are taking place, but this time we have the Scarborough Mason Hall dominating in that competition. They are at the top of the table with 76 points.
Wow.
Right? So they are also unbeaten as well.
And this match is obviously taking place over the weekend.
Yes. So the Earl Arthur takes place on a Wednesday and a Thursday, right? They're utilizing the Mariah, Roxborough, and the Canaan Bonaccord ground. I'm very happy to see that it's back in action, right? And on a weekend, we utilize the Shore Park and Roxborough and Mariah grounds for the 2-day competition.
Yeah, and have you seen any sort of, because currently we are watching Joshua James out of Tobago in his debut season for the national senior team. He's been doing really good. Have you seen coming out of the 2 days and the latter, any anybody's prospects, that can probably emulate Joshua in the years to come?
Yes, we have a few. We have the Antonio Providence, right? He would have had 115 runs the last weekend gone.
Yeah. Very good all rounder.
Yes, he's a very, very
When I was
good
keeping this play away.
I wonder. I would not mention. We had a couple hundreds over the period. We would have had Dario Melville also having 100. A set of young players, Ashon Pierre. So we have a set of young, talented players who come. We even have some young ones included. Schoolboys. We have the Kieran Mohammed. He would have taken 5 wickets. I think his 5 for 5 was his.
Young Kieran Mohammed. Yes.
He is a second form pupil of the Goodwood High School, right? So he is also one that we have to look out for in the format. We have the Brandon Melville. He is the under 17 Tobago team captain.
I even saw Brandon got like 8 wickets. I think it was last weekend.
Yes,
best figures.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and he's a young upcoming budding cricketer. So yes, we have a lot of young talent upcoming.
But I can't allow it to go further without asking about Kale, because I remember vividly we had a conversation about Kale. I had you on set with young Kale, outstanding at the primary schools level, and he's now going to secondary schools. And I saw recently also he is now with UTT. Tell me about Kale and about that move to UTT.
Yes, so Kale at the age of 12, first form student, he was called up by Mr. Anthony Gray. He's now playing with UTT Patriots, his second team, and he's doing really, really well. At first, I was a bit scared because I said, he's the youngest in the tournament. Big men bowling ball at him. It's not primary school anymore. My baby is going out there to face.
Yes.
But I can tell you very well, Marcus, even the captain of the team, he likes to work with him because at times when they're at the crease, he's the one that is giving the talking and the speech, and they're really happy to have him around. So every team he would have played for at this point asking, so we could buy him.
That's very good news, because it's always looking for the next talent, the next best thing.
Yes.
Joshua James showing the world that Tobago does.
Tobago
we have
has
talent. We have the talent. And Tanika, let's jump into this exciting tournament, the Dream 11. This is what installment is this one?
This is the 3rd edition.
The 3rd edition.
Yes.
And tell me about everything in place. What can Tobago expect for the 3rd edition?
Tobago can expect a lot. Last year, what do young people say? We have 6 outside. We had over 400 and something sixes outside. Some even hit the court. Some even might hit the cruise ship outside. But we had a lot of explosive shots coming from some really talented, the Lendell Simmons, the Terrence Hines, you name it. We had a lot of fun, a lot of sixes, a lot of explosive cricket happening in Shaw Park.
And tell us about the start date and the times of the matches and where.
So the start date is actually tomorrow, Saturday the 22nd, right? We start at Shaw Park. The games there are 2 games played daily. They start at 12:30 and the other game is at 2 p.m.
So two matches per day.
Daily. And Marcus, the exciting part of it, it's only 20 TT for 2 games. 2 games of fun, excitement, you name it.
Because I remember last time we spoke about having schools, the children from schools, they are allowed to come in free, of course, because it's just to get and to captivate them and encourage them to join the sport. And I'm sure that that's going to be the case again this year.
Yes, and we even went as far as extending the invitation to the school supervisor so that she would have an idea of how the young people feel about the cricket, to see the young and upcoming budding talent that we have, so that I am hoping that they could implement that cricket be one of the vital sports in the school. Because, usually when you go to the schools, you would have the track and field, you would have the netball, you would have the football, but very rare you would see that cricket is on their curriculum. So I'm really hoping that more schools get involved with having cricket within the school system. And for me, I believe that it should not wait until you reach the primary school or secondary school level. But for me, I think we should start at the preschool level, because at that age is where they learn and capture everything. So for me, I believe that it should start at that tender level, so that by the time they get to the primary school level, that they would be at a certain stage.
But that's fantastic, because I can remember years when we used to host the regional 4-day tournament, and just seeing Wavel Hines or even Brian Lara, Darren Ganga, and all those guys play at Shaw Park, that was an encouragement for me and a motivation for me to want to get to that level. I know we haven't had first class cricket in Tobago for a while. I'm still looking for a first class venue, but these sort of regional tournaments, I say regional because we have some big name players. We have players from Barbados, we have players from Ghana over the years. Yes, and from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it's like a regional, national, and local competition.
Yes.
And it's good to see that, it has continued. Most times we see these events come one year and that's it.
And that's
so,
it,
So
yes.
Dream 11 is here to stay, if you can put it that way. Let's have a discussion about the teams. How many teams and the names of the franchises?
So there are 6 teams, right? There are 6 teams. So we have the Shepherds in No Man's Land. We have the Mount Irving Surfers. We have Kings Bay Royals. We have Snorkelers. We also have Pigeon Point Skiers, right? So those are the teams that would be participating in the tournament.
Yeah. And in terms of the format, do you have an idea of the format itself?
So it's a T20, it's a T10 format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in terms like how they play, everybody play each other.
Everybody play each other, and then you go into the elimination.
Yeah. So that's so like because when I watch the fixtures, it's like 32 matches.
Yes.
And then
16 lovely days of cricket.
Fantastic. 16 lovely days of cricket. So persons who are interested in coming to Shaw Park, can they come with a cooler as well?
Yes, you can. I mean, there would be vendors there, but you are free to come, bring out your family, bring out your chairs, and have a time.
And let's have a discussion with the teams itself and the makeup of the teams, because I heard you mention Lendl Simmons. I just saw like last week Lendl Simmons playing for the West Indies Masters team, and in fact they got all the way to the final. And Lendl Simmons was like outstanding. And he's one of the players that will be coming here in Tobago to play.
Yes, he will.
Yeah. So
right? Lendl Simmons, he's a part of the Store-based Snorkelers. They would have actually won the last edition as well.
Store-based Snorkelers.
Yes.
And who else can we expect from the Store-based Snorkelers?
We have the big hitting Dejon Charles,
Charles.
out of Tobago here, the man from Goodwood. Who puts Goodwood on the right?
I like that terminology there.
We also have John Ross Jagasa. He's returning again.
Yes, a
right?
national player as well.
National player. And as I said, he would have dominated the tournament last year, both with bat and with ball.
Oh yes, he was like the most wicket.
He was the MVP. He had the most runs. He also tied with Christopher Vincent for most wickets. They both had 12 to their names, but he also had best figures, 4 for 4.
4 for 4. And John Jagasa is an off spinner.
Yes.
Played for the national team. Very tricky. So that's exciting stuff from the Snorkelers. So they are looking good to defend their title.
They are looking very good, and they would have added some young budding players again coming out of Tobago. And we have Michael Ramdas. He would have been a part of the national camp in Trinidad.
Oh, that's the academy.
Yes. I remember
that.
He would have been a part of that, Mr. Ramdas. He is also one of our players coming out looking at. He also plays for UTT in Trinidad at this time. So
I'm seeing young Theo Bruce, Xavier Reid,
and Zion
Reid, Kellon Lynch, Ato James, Shaquille Johnson, Tobago names. I mean, the team does look very balanced. I mean, familiar names, household names, Terence Hines, Lendl Simmons, Daniel Williams, and John Ross Jagasa. Even Amanda Cole, Plucky, Nicholson, looking forward to seeing the Snorkelers again. And moving on to, let's say, the Raiders. Because Raiders, they played the finals last year.
Yes, they did.
Yeah?
Actually, 2 years.
2 years in a row. So
they would have played the finals.
Yes, and they would have been beaten at the finals. I mean, and let's go through their team and look at the players that we can expect to be outstanding this year.
Right. So we have the big hitting Joshua James. We have the experienced Riyad Emirates. We have the man from Barbados, Richard Ford. We also have the guy out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Shaman Hooper. He has been a Tobagonian, not by birth, but
because he has been here also for the Chief Secretary's Tobago team.
Yes, he has been.
And that's what I'm talking about, a regional connection, a regional national connection along with the local players. And I think with this will augur well for our local players, rubbing shoulders with these players from around the region who have like been exposed to a really high level of cricket globally. Yeah, so the Raiders looking good to get back to a final again.
Yes.
And they think they have what
I'm
it takes.
hoping that this time, they will step up the game and they're gonna take the title.
And a big name there, Evan Lewis. Evan Lewis is in that lineup, of course, a West Indies player.
And the St. Kitts Patriots guy.
And St. Kitts, yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Raiders there again. And I mean, who knows? Maybe they may go all the way this year.
Well,
yeah. What about the Pigeon Point skiers?
Right. So the skiers, we have Jesse Bhutan, right? We also have the young Jaden Kent. That is another really, really good talent coming out of Tobago. Now, Jaden has played cricket right here in Tobago, and he also plays in Trinidad. He played in the North-South Classic, and he would have won games for them, right? Hitting some explosive shots. So, as I said before, Marcus, Tobago has a lot of talent that we overlook, right? So, I'm really glad to see that these players, we also have Ryan Williams coming out of St. Vincent and Grenadines. He is another Tobagonian, not by birth, right? Because he also usually is here for the Tobago Chief Secretary T10 Blast, right? So we have Akil Cooper. We also have young MBK Joseph, the West Indies under 19 player, who is currently out of the country playing for us as well. And we have again the young captain of the Tobago under 17 team, that's Brandon Melville, right? So we have some and Antonio Providence. Yes. So we have really balanced teams with excitement coming. I have to use the word excitement, Marcus, because I've seen the explosiveness there to come.
I'm really excited about Jesse Bhutan. I think he has been one of the more dominant players for the 2 years I've seen it. And if he won his sixes, come see Jesse Bhutan, and he hit it very hard and very far. So a very exciting team there, the skiers. Let's talk about the Explorers. I think the Explorers won the first edition of this.
Yes, they did. He is paired by Coach John Pollard, a very experienced guy, right? And we have our very own Brandon Brown. We have the talented Tishon Castro coming out of Trinidad, who is very good with bat and ball. We have the experienced man they call Sharky, Imran Khan. We have the Joshua York, and we have Dexter Sween. We have a lot of young players in this team. We have our Tobago own very experienced man, Liron Lizama.
And dominating
our local series, both with the Earl Arthur and with the 2-day competition.
So it's good to see that a lot of players are coming into this competition with some form. So we are expecting really good competitive cricket, both with bat and ball. So that was the snorkelers, not the snorkelers, the Explorers there. What about the Royals? I mean, are they going to be royal this year?
I'm not sure if they would sit on the throne, Marcus, but I know they kept their composure and their royalty throughout. Unfortunately, they didn't reach past anywhere. But we have the experienced Mark Dial.
Kings, a Kings player from the CPL.
Yes. So I'm guessing he's rolling with the Kings at all times.
Yes, rolling with the Kings. I think that's the idea now. Ask him about that.
We have the talented man from Speyside there, the Dwayne Murray. We have under 19 player Andrew Rambar, and he would have been in the setup of the under 19 national team. The hard hitting Nicholas Sukhdev Singh. He's short as the bat,
from a national
but
player
I can tell you, when he gets in that crease, I can tell you his innings does not be short. I can tell you that for sure. We have another under 19 national player, Orlando James. He was the captain last year. We have Jaron Alfred. We know that he is a very talented guy. Last night we saw him took some wickets at the T20 festival at the Queen's Park Oval last night as well. And we have another under 19 player, Kyle Ramdu,
I've seen a name here. Davion Shange. I saw Davion Shange scored 100 in the same 2-day league that we mentioned. So I mentioned before, the players are coming in with some form.
They're coming in with some form.
Very happy to see that. And what about the Surfers? That's the final team that we have So there's 6 teams, you said, right? 6 franchises. The Mount Irving Surfers.
The Mount Irving Surfers, well, they are led by Kirsten Kalicharan, right? They have some really experienced men with some form coming in. We see Dario inside here. We see Christian Turton, because we know how he is. He's a well all-rounder with the wicket-keeping gloves, the bat, the ball, everything, you name it. Christian is that guy, right? We have Ashon Pierre. He also has some shots barking at the Mariah ground there. We have Shatran Rambaran, and as I said, they are spearheaded by Kirsten Kalicharan. And we have the big guy coming from Roxbury, Clinton Brooks. We can't forget the Bolivar, right? And we have Ricky Jaipal, right? And Shaquille Thomas, the guy from inside the main ridge there. So we have some really, really good guys, Marcus.
Yeah.
And it's good to see that the team has a mixture. So, you know, it's not just all the big guys on one side. We have a good mixture. And again, to see the young upcoming ones to be rubbing shoulders with these experienced guys. I mean, there's a Simmons Peters.
Simmons, yes.
Excellent in the outfield, excellent with the bat, you know. So I'm really glad to see the mixture of the teams, and we have the man we call Baba coming out of
Kishan
Dillon. So exciting. I'm really looking forward to this competition, and I really hope that it doesn't just stop at the 3rd edition. I really hope that this is something ongoing, because this is real good exposure for not just our local cricketers, but for the young upcoming ones, because they are now included in the setup.
Fantastic. And then from looks of it, all the teams they are well balanced
team. Everybody looking good on paper, but I can assure you, on the day you have to see and be there.
See and be there.
Yes.
Not
see and be united, but see and be there.
You can't help it, see and be. But in terms of the prizes will be in this team. I know last year and the year before they played for they would not got $100,000.
Yes, the prizes still remain the same.
Yeah, fantastic. Right. Wow, $100,000, 16 days to pay for $100,000. I mean, all in a day's weekend.
Yes.
Fantastic. And I'm looking forward, really, really looking forward to it. And, you know, what I wanted to ask you, given that we have all these players coming from Trinidad and from around the region, and Tobago being so hospitable, we normally take these players around and show them Tobago. I mean, are we expecting to take the players to Pigeon Point, take them to Charlottesville, and let them explore Tobago instead of just coming to play alone?
Well, actually, Marcus, yes, they do. So, because of the names, right? You will see that some of the teams actually go to see. I mean, for those who have been here first time in the setup, they actually take them around. I remember Pirates Bay, for sure. They would have gone to Pirates Bay. Also, what they would have done, they would have gone to schools.
Right. Yes,
they would have gone to schools and, you know, given them some prep talk and encourage them to come and play the sport of cricket. No Man's Land, the main ridge, because these are sights to behold, right? So yes, they do actually go on their little adventures on the days where they are not playing. They actually venture and explore these places.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And also to wrap up the Tandika, the matches on tomorrow. Who are the teams going to be playing the first set of matches tomorrow? Because I know players, given that we would have announced all them teams and then people are already looking
people
to see
excited and ready who to play the first game, who I could pay my $20 to go and watch.
Yes, and gates open from what time?
Right, so you could be there from about 10 a.m. if you please. You could come, and if you want to see from the warm-up, go right down. Yes, you can come and you can and take it in from there.
I know threats of rain. I mean, let me say it because they say I'm blind now, but they say I'm blind.
I prefer that you not call the rain at this point.
We have been having fantastic weather.
The only thing that would be raining would be sixes. That is the only thing that I'm asking for to be raining. It would be sixes. But the first match tomorrow at 12 p.m., that would be the Kings Bay Royals. They will be playing the Pirates Bay Raiders.
That's a big one.
Right? And then we would have at 2:30 p.m. we would have the Pigeon Point Skiers. They would take on the No Man's Land Explorers.
And then on Sunday, just the complete weekend.
And on Sunday, we would have the Mount Irving Surfers playing the Kings Bay Royals. And then we would have the Pirates Bay Raiders playing the No Man's Land Explorers.
Fantastic. And Tantika, just before you go any departing words, I mean, I'm really hoping that, the public, they go out and they support this Dream 11. I mean, we have had the support over the years. We have had some very, Kakape, that's the name?
Yes,
Agnes,
yes, that's the name.
A very, very, exciting spectator. She loves the cricket. She loves the sixes, and who knows, we may have something special for that one spectator or group of spectators that would have gone out there and support the cricket, because as the years gone by, we would have seen it, me being involved down there as the MC, helping to bring some excitement there again. So that's that. They have it at the fixtures, 16 straight days of cricket. It's going to be at the Shore Park Recreational Ground, Dream 11 T10 Blast, 10 overs, that's 60 balls. Sometimes you might go to about 65 balls if you have no balls and extras in between. But $20 to watch some of the top players around the world, Lendell Simmons, Evan Lewis, top national players and regional players. I mean, can't ask better at all. I've seen persons online on the TCA, the Cricket Association page, coming from abroad. I'm going to be there. I mean, they are excited to be here as well. It's an exciting time in Tobago. It's around Easter as well. So, I mean, encouraging persons to go out and support the Tobago Cricket Association and the Dream 11 Tobago T10 Blast. Any final words, Tanika?
Marcus, all I have to say is come on down and you would see.
Like Price is Right.
Like the Price is Right. All you have to do is come on down. If I tell you my experience, you would not get the same experience.
Indeed.
And we all know that watching it on TV is not the same as actually being there. So, even if you have a little time off during the week, even if you have time off on the weekend, come on down, bring the family, bring out the kids especially, so that they would have that experience. They would feel and enjoy what it would be like. You don't have to spend $300 to go and see TKR. You can see TKR players here.
Right here for $20.
Right here for $20.
Yes.
You can see just as fun and exciting cricket, just as you will see all around the world.
Fantastic.
So my advice is come on down. Let's have a time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tandika Moses, General Secretary of the Tobago Cricket Association, for being here this morning. We were just chatting about the Dream 11 Tobago T10 Blast, the third edition of the Dream 11 Tobago T10 Blast. Exciting times here in Tobago, all happening at the Shore Park Recreational Ground. Guys, thank you so much for staying tuned to Tobago Updates, of course, the sporting segment. We're going to take a break and come right back with Good Morning Tobago with Natalie. Don't forget, share the live, share the live, share the live.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
In celebration of International Women's Day, the Assembly Legislature spearheaded a debate session with girls and women. The motion focused on establishing a comprehensive women's health action plan to address issues such as period poverty and increase mental health resources for women and girls. The ladies presented arguments for and against the motion, which was brought by the area representative for Bethesda Lekoto and leader of Assembly Business, Joshel Dan.
As a THA executive, we recognize that period poverty is in fact an issue and one that deserves our utmost attention. It is our responsibility as elected officials to ensure ensure that no woman or girl is deprived of the products that she needs to lead a decent life. This is her right. We are talking about human rights. Empowering local communities to take responsibility and show compassion for those in need is a far more sustainable approach. Real change does not always come from policies on paper. It comes from communities stepping up and supporting their own. Too often, we look to others for solution when the real power lies in our own hands. As the old folks say, one hand can't clap. We must come together, support each other, and take action to create opportunities rather than waiting on the government to do everything.
While the minority clings to their "we can't afford it" argument, I ask, can we really afford to ignore it? And let's talk about sustainability. Some argue that even if this program gets funding, it won't be consistent. But that's why proper policy planning is key. By integrating menstrual product distribution into existing schools, clinics, and community centers, we ensure access without needing an entirely new infrastructure. Public-private partnerships can also help ease financial burdens.
So while we welcome the concept of soliciting contributions from private sector partnerships, we cannot ignore the elephant in the room. This urgent matter requires the government's intervention and leadership, regardless of how you look at it. Just dropping it in the laps of non-governmental organizations will leave it for stagnation and delay, as we have seen thus far. Madam Presiding Officer, there are millions of dollars in international funding available to address issues like closing the gaps in women's health care and similar social issues.
I've heard the Chief Secretary stating that they are unable to fully place their confidence in NGOs, and this is why they have to take such an approach of putting so much of Tobagonians' money into this. Now, again, this is the micromanaging of this administration. Why not empower these groups to do what it is that they have already started?
I decided why not jump in the fray to be able to contribute to a local and a national conversation on period poverty and broader women's health issues. So for me, it was very personal and really just an opportunity to join the conversation or rejoin the conversation and amplify it.
I think what I would take away most is the fact that the training has been extremely realistic and everything about it is completely tied to the actual standing orders and everything that happens in the house. So for young women who are really and truly interested in moving forward and having a career in politics and representation, the experience prepares you for that. So you have a realistic expectation of what that would look like in the future.
I am so extremely proud of the young women of Tobago. The age groups that were represented, from the very young high school students to the more mature young women in society. Period poverty is something that is an issue near and dear to our hearts, and I think that this debate was very timely, that each of the presenters articulated their points very clearly, very succinctly. You know, they were very passionate about the issue, presenting the both sides of the argument.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
It's a brand new morning, rise
a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong and the vibes is never wrong.
Good morning, Tobago. It's Friday, the 21st of March, 2025, and you are viewing GMT Good Morning Tobago. I'm your host, Natalie Seeley Richardson, and we are coming to you live from our studios in downtown Scarborough, Port Mall to be exact. And at this time, of course, we would head right into your news in 90 seconds. Opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisessa's call for independent international observers has been approved. Prime Minister Stuart Young confirmed that the government invited CARICOM, the Commonwealth Secretariat, and the Carter Center to monitor the April 28 election. Young emphasized that he had requested observers before receiving Prasad Bisessa's letter. He also rejected doubts about CARICOM's impartiality and reaffirmed Trinidad and Tobago's strong tradition of a free and a fair election. On April 1st, Arthur Barrington will be appointed as the new head of the Strategic Services Agency, succeeding Brigadier General Anthony Phillips Spencer, who will return to his diplomatic role. Prime Minister Stuart Young said the move aims to stabilize the agency, citing Barrington's intelligence experience. Former Director Major Roger Best was dismissed in May 2024 after a special branch report led to his arrest. Trinidad and Tobago will host the Carifta Aquatics and Athletics Championships over the Easter weekend. Athletics will be held at the Hazley Crawford Stadium from April 29th through the 21st. Swimming from April 19th through the 22nd in Couva, and open water swimming on April 23rd in Chagaramas. Officials stressed the importance of a strong local support as organizers expect intense competition and aim to capitalize on home advantage. Ticket prices range from $20 to $100 with season passes available. And that was your news in 90 seconds. So, as I mentioned, it's Friday, the 21st of March, and we know the 21st of March is significant for our Down syndrome community. It is World Down Syndrome Day, and just to stand in solidarity with those who are impacted directly, or families, relatives, we know the campaign Rock Your Socks. So I know many of you are rocking your socks to work, to school, whether you're running errands downtown Scarborough, uptown, Crown Point, wherever you are. We even have our own Tobago Updates crew. Yes, some of us came out and we are rocking our socks this morning in solidarity and in support of World Down Syndrome Day. All right, maybe you can send us photos of your crew wearing your socks. And of course, you know, I always have to put the little extra. It's nice when we have these days to commemorate, and then we do rock your socks and then that's it. But what are you really doing to understand this community, support them in other ways? All right, and there you see part of the crew again, and we are rocking your socks. Remember, it's about educating yourselves, understanding more about this community, and being there, exposing our children, you know, to those who may be different to them as well, and being able to form relationships with them. So just for you to think about. Of course, we get right into our first guest this morning. No stranger to media, no stranger to the politics. And allow me to introduce her and welcome her to Tobago Updates this morning. She's joining us. She's joining us virtually. And of course, I am speaking of a former Deputy Chief Secretary, former Tourism Secretary, and I believe for a short while, she would have been the political leader of the PNM Tobago Council, and we speak of Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine. Good morning, Miss Celestine.
Good morning to you, and good morning to all of the listening public.
I'm so glad you made the time to chat with us, and I don't know if my director would know that I'm not hearing you. Our viewers may be hearing you, I'm not sure.
I am hearing you quite clearly.
All right, so let's take a quick break and sort that out. We'll be right back with Mrs. Celestine after this.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supply specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for your patience, and we are welcoming former Deputy Chief Secretary and a former Tourism Secretary in the Tobago House of Assembly, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine, and we thank you so much for your patience, Mrs. Celestine.
Yes, thank you, and good morning to you, and good morning to all of the listeners, and let me say thank you very much for the invitation to be here.
Right. And of course, we know that you have been busy. And for our viewers who may have missed it, can you share with us very briefly what you have been up to?
Well, I have been up to making a positive contribution to Trinidad and Tobago. Where I work, I try to help my organization to be more operationally effective and efficient so that we can continue to affect change in communities and to treat with the vulnerable. And I am very involved in solving challenges as they arise.
Mm-hmm. And this morning you are here to share your views, information after being present at the opening of the international airport here in Tobago. We know that received a lot of attention, a moment in history, that opening, and we of course would have interviewed you, that is Tobago Updates, and you would have shared, you would have commented rather on the airport and of course the Sandals project. So let's start off with the international airport. What it means to you as a union to have infrastructure like that on the island.
Well, for me, I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to develop and to build an airport within a short space of time, and it took around 3 years. If you are to do your research around the world, one of the things that you would see is that when any government or private sector try to construct an airport, it takes an inordinate period of time to be completed. So I really want to congratulate and commend all of those who were involved in the process. For me as a Tobagonian, as I indicated, I feel very proud. I am a traveler. I make the time to see different places. And of course, when you have that kind of exposure, you make the comparison to what you currently have. And so when I look at it, The ANR Robinson Airport compares favorably with all of the airports in the Caribbean and even with airports international countries that I have been to. I think when you look at the structure of the airport as well, it takes into consideration all of the things that we have been asking for as a government over the years. So again, well done to China Railway, to the central government, and even to the former Prime Minister for listening to the call of the Tobagonians and, of course, for responding in that kind of way.
And you mentioned the time frame in which the airport was built. It may seem a bit unusual as compared to other countries. What do you think accounted for that fast spin around in building this infrastructure?
Well, I think two things, largely having the cash readily available, because if you don't have finances to construct something like an airport, you're going to run into significant challenges. And so the central government ensured that the funding was readily available to pay all of the contractors. And then two, having the right contractor is also important. I think China Railway, I'm not advocating for them in any way, but based on the research, China Railway is very, very operationally efficient. And one of the things I observed is that they had crews working both in the morning and also having night shifts as well. And so with their kind of international expertise and with the government having the finances available, and of course with the support from Tobagonians at large, they were able to construct that airport within a record period of time.
And with any new development or any major change in a country, we know that sacrifices are to be made, and we are quite aware that some persons would have had to move in to make space for the expansion. And I'm assuming more moves are to come, because when you drive on the Torbay local road, you feel as though you are almost in the airport, and I suspect that more moves may have to take place to make room, whether it's for car park or maybe just that safety buffer zone when you have airports, etc. How do you talk to those who had to make that sacrifice and who may have to make that sacrifice in the future? You know, we're talking about growth, expansion, and the good the airport will do for the island. But at the same time, you have people who would have, you know, lost what they would have sacrificed to build, etc. How do you find a balance between that?
Well, I think there is a price that we pay for development, and there are some times that we have to accept compromise. And I'm really happy that for those who would have had to move, that they were able to accept the compromise, and which was placed at Van Road in some instances, and down at Canoe Bay, which is basically prime land, prime real estate in the Tobago context. And from the discussions that I would have overheard, they were adequately compensated. I think the issue for most of those who had to move over the years was the fact that they lived there in that place. They were accustomed to the neighborhood, they were accustomed to the neighbors. So it was a very difficult thing for them to move to a new community. Of course, we all know that change is very, very hard. But I'm really glad at the end of the day, they saw the bigger picture, they relented, and they moved to different communities that were identified by the Tobago House of Assembly at that particular time. I don't have any information in terms of any additional development that is likely to take place, but at the same time, I would still put on the table the fact that with development, there is really a price that we have to pay as citizens. But at the end of the day, when you look at the kind of development, it really balances out, because with an airport, it opens quite a lot of opportunities for us in Tobago. It gives us a competitive advantage, and with that competitive advantage, there will be benefits for the people of Tobago and the Trinidad and Tobago by extension.
And you, of course, were afforded the opportunity to tour the facility and be a part again of that moment in history, that grand opening, and being a part of that ceremony. What can you tell those of us who are yet to see it. And of course, when it is open for the public, we'll all have that opportunity. What can you tell us as you walk through that facility? What are your thoughts? You shared earlier, you're a traveler and you liked what you saw, but a little more in terms of what you saw.
Well, the thing is, the airport, as I indicated, is a very, very lovely edifice. Very lovely. It's very huge. I was very surprised at the size of the airport. Of course, it has been said that it can accommodate up to 3 million passengers. But I think when you look at what is in the airport, it takes into consideration all of the things that we have been clamoring for. I was very, very pleased when I saw a space for business class passengers. Not that I'm saying that I'm traveling business class, but I know that has been an issue for tour operators, for airlines, the fact that they do not have any space at the A&R Robinson Airport to hold their first class and business class passengers until the time that they would board the aircraft. So I was very pleased that we have that kind of facility available for people. And of course, we have very large holding spaces for passengers in general, very, very modern accommodation. We have improved the technology, and of course, the customs area, the customs and immigration area for passengers who are leaving and also returning to the destination. I was joking with those who were there on the tour at that time that if you're not careful, you could actually miss your flight in this airport because of the size of the airport. So I am sure that when Tobagonians are able to utilize the airport, that they will be very, very pleased with the offering.
Right, and we hope that no one really has that Miami International Airport experience, because that's one of the airports where you can definitely lose your flights if you're not minding your business.
Yes, and actually that was the feeling that I got when I walked through that airport. You could miss your flight if you're not careful.
Right. And I want us to switch gears a bit because, again, you commented on, again, the airport at the opening, and you would have mentioned the resurgence of the Sandals project. And I know that the former Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, also referred, there seems to be, I don't want to use the word hurt, but a lot of passion that this project didn't come off the ground. And I want us to have that conversation, especially you sat in the seat of the tourism division of the Tobago House of Assembly. And, when you look at this project, why do you think it's needed for Tobago? Because that's the talk you are hearing from those who would support it. Of course, you heard Mr. Arthur Jack talking about, Tobago is nothing. And I would have the quotation because I have to be very careful. I don't want people think I'm making these things up. So I would find the exact quotation and the article and the newspaper where he said it, and that Tobago needs something like this. Are you in total agreement that, Tobago needs a Sandals? And if so, why?
I think let me say at the outset that I am in total agreement of growth and development for Tobago, which would, of course, impact our people in a very positive way. But I think one of the things that we have to embrace as a people is that with every action, there will be a reaction. If you take, for instance, your personal life, if you decide that I want to lose weight, that is the action. But the reaction or the consequence of that is that you would have to give up some of the foods that you like. So, for instance, if it is that you like ice cream or you like cookies, etc., we know the implication for that if you continue to have it and achieve the objective of losing weight. So, if that is what is happening in our personal lives, then we also have to recognize that if we're talking about development for a space, with every action, there will be a reaction, and the reaction will, of course, lead to consequences. For Tobago, a Sandals or an accommodation like Sandals is important for a destination. One of the things, or the target market for us, is of United Kingdom. We have a direct flight in from the United States of America. And we have been for some time trying to maximize the passengers or the citizens from those particular countries. How are we to do that if we do not have the kind of infrastructure readily available for those passengers to come? I think it's time for Tobagonians to recognize that we have to move away from solely the passengers who will sit at the back of the plane. And if we are to attract more revenue, we have to be in a position to set ourselves in a way where we could also attract those passengers who will sit at the front of the plane. They are the people with money, because a business class ticket to any destination is between 5,000 sometimes to 7,000 and even more US based on the airline that you would wish to fly with. And so those people have the cash readily available and would want proper accommodation in terms of where they sit at the airport, proper accommodation in terms of where they stay at the when they come to the destination. So it is important for us to be able to attract the kind of investment to Tobago that will, of course, cause those passengers to come to the destination. The argument has always been for some that with a product like sandals, there are going to be consequences. Of course, there will be consequences. And so we have to ask ourselves, what are we prepared to give up to have that kind of investment coming to the island? We know that with a sandals project, they would want some of to be located by some of the best beaches. Are we prepared to give that up? And if we give that up, what are we going to have in exchange? We're going to have employment for the people of Tobago. We're going to be in a position where we could generate revenue, because there would be people who will be required to ply their trade. There would be people who would be required to sell agricultural produce and to do quite a lot of things. We can build the capacity, because we know that a product like sandals has a training school where you can have more persons trained in hospitality. We can improve customer service. So for me, while there would be a reaction and while there would be consequences, I'm of the view that the consequences are able to balance out the positives rather are able to balance out the consequences that Tobago as a destination will face. Some will argue that we should not utilize our very sensitive spaces to put high-end accommodation like sandals. But I have lived and worked in Costa Rica for 3 years, and Costa Rica has 1/3 of the world's biodiversity. They are largely protected areas. But one of the things I have observed is that high-end accommodation is able to survive and ply its trade very successfully, even in those very high sensitive areas and well protected areas. So the point is, when the infrastructure is put in, there are things that can also be put in that will cause the environment to be preserved in a particular way. And of course, we know if we were to research Costa Rica, they have very high occupancy rates, and that is because they don't only cater for the persons who sit at the back of the plane, but they also cater for those persons who will sit in the front of the aircraft. So when you look at where Tobago is at this point in time, if we are to grow in the kind of way that we want to grow, if we are to constantly attract the source markets that we have been investing in for over the years, we have to be able to attract investments like sandals.
Right.
And when we look across the Caribbean, we see that there are advantages to be had.
Right. And just for you to also add to the statement you made, you mentioned, of course, some of the benefits. So whether it's employment, benefits in terms of revenue for the agricultural sector. And when one examines the Memorandum of Understanding, the way how it is worded, and you look at the employment, you look at even agriculture, the prices, there seems to be no guarantee that Sandals has to purchase from the agricultural sector here in Tobago if it doesn't meet their standards, their requirements, their price point, etc. Even employment, is it employment throughout management? Is it employment just on the lower scale? And again, just how it's worded, it's no guarantee. And I know that was one of the concerns by many Tobagonians who would have raised issue. But before you even comment on that, I want to share, because I did refer to Mr. Arthur Lockjack, and I want the viewers to know it's not made up. So it was taken from the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, a 2019 publication written by, and I want to call it Raphael John Lal. And of course, he was reporting on the forum, a Sandals forum, and he would have quoted former, then Minister Stuart Young, now Prime Minister, and Mr. Arthur Lockjack. And it says, businessman Arthur Lockjack, who also spoke at the forum, said that the project had its origins, and that's the Sandals project, in 2015 at a dinner at his home involving the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, founder and chairman of Sandals Resort, Butch Stewart, CEO of Massey Group, and of course, I don't think that person, Warner, is there anymore, among other guests. He also said all was not lost and that the project could be revived with private sector investment. And he goes on to say, the reporter goes on to say, and in this is reference to Mr. Arthur Lockjack, he said that Tobago needed Sandals more than Sandals needed Tobago. Tobago is nothing. It is our country. Tobago is a hard sell. And here we are. Here we had an opportunity of a lifetime and we threw it away. Do you agree that Tobago is a hard sell? You sat as Secretary of Tourism. Would you describe Tobago as a hard sell?
Well, the thing is, Tobago has all of the features that could cause people to come. But as I indicated earlier, we have to have the infrastructure. Infrastructure meaning airport, sites and attractions, and even accommodation. I think one of the things that we don't recognize is that we have a challenge with location. We are all the way down south. Let us look at the Bahamas, for instance. Bahamas is all the way up north. It's close to the United States of America. And so because of their location, and the proximity to the source market, they have very, very high occupancy rates. Quite a lot of tourists go to the Bahamas. The same thing with St. Martin. When you are talking about countries further down the train, like Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Grenada, we have to have something that stands out even more than countries like Bahamas and St. Martin.
Right.
And what would that thing be? We have to have the accommodation in order to attract people in numbers from our source markets.
And again, the focus has been in Tobago in terms of tourism is ecotourism. And if I remember clearly, even while you sat as Secretary, that was one of the things you would have, made sure that was out there. Tobago tourism, focus on the ecotourism. And again, I just want to quote then Chief Secretary Orville London, and this is coming from thereport.com in collaboration with, I think, a UK media house where he was interviewed in 2014. And I don't know if my director can put parts of that article up. So again, the viewers will see where I am reading from. And Mr. London was asked, and let me get the right question. Right, he was asked, what are you doing to reverse the decline in tourism arrivals to Tobago? So again, we see that tourism, the challenges is not a now thing. I hear people talk about the current THA or the former, but it has always been an issue, as you said, or maybe even as Mr. Jack might have indicated, it's a hard sell. So there has always been challenge. And to that question, he would have responded, we are operating in a highly competitive environment. And he spoke about introducing the passenger duty tax, giving a refund at that time, etc. But what I found interesting was this statement made by former Chief Secretary. We have also tried to increase our spend with respect to marketing. Our marketing spend per capita, when you compare it with other islands of the region, is low. We need to ensure that we partner with the type of investors who share our vision of what Tobago should be. We will never have 400-room hotels. We'll never have a focus on mass tourism. We will always continue to protect our rainforest. Development where we are all concerned is an all-encompassing concept that speaks to the quality of life of the resident and the quality of the experience of the visitor. And it means being able to sustain that over an extended period of time. And in 2016, Mr. London again was interviewed by the same entity, the report.com, in collaboration with another UK media house. And this was in 2016, and I think a few months after this was when then Prime Minister would have announced or mentioned the Sandals project in the public domain. And again, I quote, the question was asked, how do we balance the need to maintain the tranquility of Tobago with the need for investment? And Mr. London replied, we are trying not to make the same mistake or create the type of challenge as other destinations, which have actually changed the environment which attracted their visitors in the first place. We do not want to build massive hotels and structures that take away from the ambience. We need to protect the tourist. We tell our prospective investors that this is an island where you can be assured that what you are investing in today is what you can market and sell 10 to 15 years down the road. Because we have a joint commitment to keep the island as serene and attractive as it is now over an extended period of time. End quote. Where do you think the shift would have changed in terms of having this vision for Tobago, where maybe a more people-focused or micro-tourism sector and niche market that would focus more again on the eco-tourism and not having these big resorts like Sandals that seems to be more commercialized? Because you have then former Chief Secretary stating quite clearly, this is our vision, this is what we want for the island. But we know when we look at Sandals coming in, it's a different culture, different orientation. So where do you think the shift changed from then to what the former Prime Minister would have introduced to us in current times with Sandals?
I think when you analyze the statement of the former Chief Secretary, Mr. London, he would have put forward his vision in the context of time and what was relevant at that particular period of time in which he spoke. At that time, perhaps we had more mature travelers who were looking for destinations that would be eco-friendly, like ours. And so it was right for him to indicate that we're looking for something safe, green, and serene, and we're looking for the more boutique-type hotels. Because at that time, research probably would have shown that these are the things that travelers would want to participate in. But there has been a shift, I think, based on the time that was said, maybe over 10 years have since passed. And so with the shift, you would find that you would have emerging new trends, you would have different tastes, you would have shifts in terms of the type of travelers, the kind of monies that they have to spend. So you would find that if we are to remain competitive, then of course we have to respond to the needs of the travelers. People are not going to come if you are not able to respond to their needs.
Right.
So those statements would have been relevant in that time. And so now, because you have a different situation, you would find that you also have to respond differently. And that is where Tobago is at this point in time.
Right. But the second quotation I read was done in the same timeline in terms of when the former Prime Minister announced the Sandals project for the very first time in a political meeting in Trinidad. So, and that's the 2016 when Mr. London said, hey, this is what we want. And I know the first quote was from 2040, and one could understand that there's always a shift, changing times. But in 2016, we have the then Chief Secretary re-emphasizing, hey, this is what we want. And then a few months later, you had the then Prime Minister making this announcement to the general public about a Sandals project. And I know my director and producer is telling me I need to wrap up. But I just have one question again. When you look at Tobago Hilton or Magdalena, you look at the Hyatt in Trinidad, all of these came about through expressions of interest, etc. And, all these big hotel chains will come and woo the government, make their lovely pitch. Why choose me? This is what you'll benefit. But what happened for Sandals? Was there an interest put out based on what we know in the public domain? It seemed that Sandals may have been handpicked. I mean, Mr. Jack referred to having dinner with these people around a table, and the idea may have been generated there. But was there any expressions of interest or proposals put out for other entities besides Sandals, to come and give their sales pitch, so to speak, so then, the best decision can be made?
Well, the thing is, that is why we have representatives who go to places like World Travel Market and International Tourism Boss, and it's to look for business for the destination. So at that time, whether it was the Prime Minister and his team or Mr. London and his team, all of us had the role and responsibility to seek out investment for the destination for Tobago and for the Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
And so I don't think it was that Sandals was handpicked. I think Sandals is a tried and tested product, and it falls in line with the leisure tourism product. When you look at the Hilton brand, for instance, although they have many different classes and different categories, what we have is the business type Hilton hotel in Trinidad. But what Tobago has been seeking would be the more leisure type accommodation that is largely high end. And in terms of the numbers of rooms, etc., that is subject to negotiation. We could determine in the negotiations that we only want 200 rooms, and they must look a particular way that would blend into the environment.
Right.
So the point of the matter is, whatever you would have seen in the public might be a general paper that would be used as the base for the discussions. And from that, you could have different iterations coming forward in terms of the look and feel and how the Sandals product would operationalize themselves in Tobago, in keeping with what Mr. London said, in keeping with what the Prime Minister said, and of course in keeping with the desires of the people of Tobago. So I don't think that we should have the mindset that we don't want Sandals, right? I think we should have the mindset that we want to be in a position to attract the investment to the destination that would help Tobago to boost its image, to boost its reputation in the market, and at the same time bringing the requisite benefits to the people of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. And the research is there. If we log on to any site, whether it be Google or otherwise, you would see the contribution that a leisure product like Sandals has made to the rest of the Caribbean. Airlines come, people come with money, with spending power, and we have employment at the end of the day. So it is a worthwhile investment for the people. And let me also say that it was not only Sandals. There were a number of different hotels that would have come to look. They were pleased with what they saw. And I recall that when the announcement was made that we are attracting Sandals to Tobago, there was a flurry of interest in the destination. And if
Right.
Sandals is put back on the table, I am almost certain that you are going to get at least 2 or 3 more hotels following in the footstep of Sandals, whether they be large, medium size, or small.
I want to thank you so much for your time and for, of course, you sharing your views on the opening of the international airport and, of course, the return of Sandals. And we wish you a beautiful day. I hope at some point you get to rock your socks in solidarity
Yes,
with
yes.
our Down syndrome brothers and sisters at some point in time today. And, of course, not just today, but be an advocate and a supporter of their cause. Thank you again, Mrs. Celestine.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, viewers, we are getting ready to go for a quick break. And when we return, our next guest will join me right here live in studio. So stay tuned.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49SWIFT 4979438.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for staying with us. You are viewing GMT. Good morning, Tobago. I am your host, Natalie Seeley Richardson, and we're switching up gears a bit in studio as I am in the presence of royalty. Yes, we have a princess and a queen joining us, a princess of DDA and a queen, and the queen of DDA. And if you don't know about DDA, this is your opportunity to listen in, and you will surely find out about who DDA is, what they do, and maybe how you or a child can be a part of this. So I have the princess this morning is Miss Kylie Boyce. Good morning, Kylie.
Good morning.
And welcome. And we have the queen of the hour, Chilwell Williams, director of DDA. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Natalie.
And of course, let me start you off one time, Chilwell. Tell us what DDA stands for and what it is about.
So DDA stands for Delicious Dance Agency. It's a group of young, vibrant movers, mainly females, that are on the island performing for any event. We do multiple styles of dance, and our classes range from age 4 straight up to 35.
So who is Delicia? Because it's Delicia's Dance Academy.
Yeah, so I am Delicia. So most persons might know me as Chevelle or Shiz, right? But my second name is Delicia, so the agency holds that title, Delicia. So
Right.
Delicia.
So remember that. How long has DDA been in existence? And if someone wants to contact you, how can they do that?
So luckily and fruitfully, DDA would be celebrating 10 years as a brand this year, right? And to get in contact with us, you can message us on any of our platforms. We are on Facebook and also Instagram. Instagram, d.agency, and the same for Facebook. Or if you wish to contact me at 719-9028.
Right, very well. So viewers, I know you have that. So if you might be interested, and once you are in that age group, 4 to 35, you can become a member of this dance academy. And let me chat with Miss Kylie Boyce now, who of course is a member of the dance academy. How long have you been dancing with the academy, Kylie?
Throughout my whole life.
Throughout her whole life. How old are you?
I'm 9 years old.
All right, so she's been in this thing for 9 years, viewers, and she said it very composed, like a professional, like, I've been doing this, you know, I got this. So what's your experience like in the academy?
It's nice and beautiful. I love it very much.
I can tell the eyebrows raise up when you say that. Yes, the excitement. What are some of the dances you do or have learned?
I've learned bouncing girl, sensational, a gospel, party by Marsha Montano. We learned what else?
Yeah. So how is it like? You have friends? Like,
Yes.
do you encourage some friends who may be on a part of the academy? Tell your mommy you want to join, you know, so that you can have more friends with you. How is that? Having your friends being a part of this and knowing that you all can be together, not just in school or whether it's church, but you can be having fun doing this. Yeah, you like that a lot?
Yes.
So if there's somebody a mommy or daddy who's listening and they may say, my son or daughter, that's not singing bad, how would you encourage that mommy and daddy to get their child involved?
I will encourage them to put the child in a group because it's very nice for the child to come in because it makes them push themselves to something they want to do and make them feel nice and stuff.
Yes,
Just
well
like me.
said. It pushes them into something. Now, Miss Williams, you have an event coming up. Tell us about this event. It seasons the journey. Emerge. Tell us more about this event so that our viewers can be a part of it.
Okay, so Emerge happens at the Shore Park Complex on April the 6th, 7 p.m. Our adult ticket is $200 and our child ticket is $100. So Emerge is basically a journey of celebration. We are celebrating the brand because, as I mentioned before, we are 10 years.
Yes.
And that's something to celebrate.
Definitely.
Emerge also takes you on a spiritual journey where as a group we were reminded that nothing is more important than prayer, right? So praying is very important on top of our list. And lastly, Emerge is about becoming beautiful. Yeah, so from our transition from learning or transition from just being 3 members to our entire camp. I would call it a camp.
Yes.
Yeah, so the road to becoming beautiful, the road to growing, the road to becoming resilient. That's what we're going to display on April the 6th at Shore Park Complex.
All right, so viewers, if you didn't get that, it's the 6th of April at Shore Park's Complex. DDA presents Seasons, The Journey Emerge. Come and celebrate with them. And what's your, I know you said you have from ages 4 to 35 in terms of who can join. What's your current age group? Do you have 4-year-olds? Do you have the 35-year-olds? Is it in between?
Yes, so currently the group is split into parts. So I have the junior 1s and 2s, which is a merge group. They start from the 4-year-old, right? So those are 4-year-olds straight up to 11. After that, we have our pre-seniors and seniors. The pre-seniors starts from about 12, 13, straight up to 17. Then we have the seniors or elite seniors, as I may call them, who are like the grown mature folks who are familiar with movements, who are more mature than the average person. So they would fall under the category of 17 to 35.
And Kylie, what group are you in?
I am in the DD. We're in oh my gosh, junior, yes.
In the junior group, right? Because is there, because Kylie said she's been doing this all her life, and though you have age groups, if you have someone who is in that level and you think that they're excelling, do you pull them out and put them, or you just keep them in the age group in terms of socialization and, you know, keeping them there?
A little bit of both, because I'm all for keeping the innocence of a child. Right. So I would introduce them to the bigger group in stages, in phases. So I wouldn't just, okay, you're developed, I want to push you here.
Got you.
So in order to maintain the holistic development of a child, I would still keep them in that junior class, but also introduce them to movement and also add them to probably 1 or 2 of the choreography that the bigger company is doing.
Right, of course, to challenge them, because you see the potential. Why did you get into this, Chevelle? Why start this academy?
I started because I saw the need on the island for mature dancers. So let's just say our first performance as a brand, our big performance was at the Jazz Festival, and it was only 3 of us. Right. And in that space, at that time, mature dancers were needed to support the band members, right? So I started it off of love and passion, and also for the lack of thereof on the island.
Right. And of course, you are there overseeing it and seeing it grow.
Definitely. From a cocoon to a butterfly.
Right. It's a metamorphosis. Yes. And how do you feel? I mean, 10 years, it's quite a milestone. Somebody might say, oh, that's 10 years, she now start. But 10 years, it's significant, you know, because I'm sure there were challenges and you could have walked away, right? But you stuck it out, and here you are celebrating 10 years. What makes you keep at it?
The love for it, and the idea that I could train and mold the next generation of greatness, and also help them to appreciate our culture here on the island. That is basically what keeps me going. Because it's funny enough that you mentioned challenges, because one of the greatest challenges was that COVID period.
Yes.
That COVID period brought a lot of sadness, a lot of depression. I lose a lot of my clientele, but to God be the glory, and we are still here.
All right. And Kylie, now you have this big presentation, this production coming up. Of course, for those of us who are coming, we are going to see you on stage, yes? Of course. So let me allow you, as we wrap up, because we have one more guest to sit with. I want to allow you to encourage the viewers to get their tickets, come out and support your students like Kylie and others. So I would allow you to talk to the viewers now and encourage them.
Hi, viewers. On April the 6th, don't be late. If you don't have your ticket yet, what are you going to do? contact us. Contact me at 719-9028 or any DDA member for your ticket. Do not miss this opportunity to be blown away spiritually, to be reminded that our island is rich and full of culture and full of love. So, see you at Image.
All right, there you have it, viewers. I have nothing to add to that, but just to remind you the date, April 6th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets. Don't be left out of DDA's beautiful production. And of course, it's always a great opportunity when we can support what is our own and our young ones coming up. Let them know we are in their corner. So viewers, we go for a quick break. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you have to get to class, so we can't keep you too long, Miss Boyce. And thank you so much for taking the time, both of you, to let us know what's happening with DDA and to let our viewers know more about this dance academy. Viewers, a quick break right now, and we will return with our last guest for this morning's GMT.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Cafe, the buffet restaurant.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us, and we continue more interesting conversations. Live in studio with me this morning is Anne Natasha, second chairman of the Tobago People's Party, and we are going to be talking about the presentation of their candidates, and a convention will be held on Sunday. So we'll hear more about the candidates, the process, where it is, what can we expect on Sunday. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, my dear, and good morning to Tobago, good morning to Trinidad, to the region, to everyone tuned in.
And of course, you cannot see Miss Second's feet, but she is rocking her socks this morning, all right? So we thank you even for being, aware and supporting the cause. And again, viewers, I'm going to mention it again every time I say rock your socks. Let it not just be on March 21st. Let us be more. See what the schools who has the children need. Support them, whether you can volunteer time, give a financial contribution. Those of you who selling the socks and making $1, give a little bit to one of the institutions or organization that supports Down syndrome causes. Don't keep everything to yourself. After all, you're making the dollar by riding upon their campaign of rocking your socks. Just think about it. I can't make you do anything, but just think about it. All right, Ms. Second, let us talk about the business of the few minutes that we have. Now, we are in election mode, full swing. The date was declared April 28th. Of course, the Tobago People's Party would have earlier said that they are contesting Tobago East, Tobago West in the national elections. We know when it is now. Just bring us up to date where we are. I know that the Tobago East candidate was announced. What's going on with Tobago West? So bring us up to speed.
Wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity. So on Sunday, the 23rd of March, we're going to be doing a special convention for the TPP where all of Tobago, everyone is going to be invited. You can physically attend. I'll give some details in a minute. One of the highlights of that gathering will be the presentation officially of the two candidates in the Tobago East and the candidate for Tobago West to contest the upcoming election, which the newly minted Prime Minister, Stuart Young, declared to be April 28th of 2025. So we have already identified who our Tobago East candidate is. It's David Thomas. He's already on the ground, and his campaign team, along with all of the members of the Tobago People's Party, are already on the ground. The Tobago West candidate, which everybody is waiting on with bated breath and anxious about, will be revealed on Sunday. So we just have a few hours to have that declared. Now, there's something I want to clarify. Some persons may think that the two candidates who would have been nominated before for that position were rejected.
Remind us who those two candidates
are. Right, so those two candidates were our sitting secretary, Trevor James, Assemblyman Trevor James, for the Scarborough-Mount Grace district, and public servant, long-standing established public servant, Barry Nelson. Both of them remain in the pool. The executive simply mandated the political leader based on different discussions with the action groups in the West Council, because parties have structure, and all of the action groups and district councils in the West would weigh in and support the screening committee and the political leader in this election. So it was simply mandated to add or to increase the number of proposed candidates. So that whole screening process has continued, and on Sunday we will declare both candidates and present them.
And I'm glad you also cleared that up, because a lot of us, without having information or context, the language is, well, those two candidates were rejected. But I clearly remembered interviewing the Chief Secretary in his office a few weeks ago, where explaining the process is that not because you put yourself forward or the party group has you means that you will necessarily be the pick, because again the committee can say, let's get more persons, let's go out again and see what's happening and review again. So I'm glad that was cleared up, because the old talk on the ground is, so thank you again for clarifying that. So is it that the candidate has already been selected for West and you all are just waiting to make it public, or we still have, committees still meeting that will take place by Sunday, so it can be revealed?
So we're not going to reveal exactly what is taking place internally within the political organization, because we are in a competitive environment. What we're going to say is that we are all looking forward to the exciting declaration and presentation of both candidates who will be speaking at our special convention on Sunday.
What else can those who will be attending on Sunday expect? In addition to the revelation of the two candidates, well, we know one already, the second one will be revealed then. What else is on the agenda?
So we have a number of excellent speakers who are going to bring Tobago up to speed with all of the current affairs that are taking place and essentially launch the campaign for the Tobago People's Party. We know that the people are anxiously want to know if we're ready. We're fully prepared. We want to present all aspects of the party and of our campaign so that they understand that they can trust us and they can be comfortable to know that we are able to deliver a full-blown election in this short and very heated election season. So we're going to have speakers who will include our candidates, obviously our political leader, and a number of persons are looking to see what he has to say about the disrespect that was levied against all of Tobago during the opening of the new airport recently, when the chief secretary and no member of the assembly was allowed to speak, etc. And the way they behaved, the laughter, the cajoling, the blatant disrespect. So we're looking forward to hear the political leader, who is the sitting chief secretary in the Tobago House of Assembly, what he's going to bring to the table to explain to Tobago about that context of disrespect. We are also going to see the party's executive. The last time we would have spoken about that was during our internal election. So we're going to see everybody. We're going to see all of the additional arms, the Women's Council, Men's Council, the leaders of our Welfare Committee, Legal Committee, Operations Committee, etc. And it's going to be a wonderful time for family. We want everyone to come out. You mentioned the rocking of the socks. For us, inclusion is a real living, breathing system that requires support, and we want you to understand that if grandpa is in a wheelchair, granny is on crutches, somebody is dismembered, somebody has some kind of different ability but they want to attend, bring them. We are facilitating them in the space at Ravenel's, so bring them out. Our ushers, who are very expertly trained, are going to welcome them and take care of them for the session.
So you mentioned location, so tell us location, time, so we know it's Sunday, so tell us location and time.
So we are going to Ravenel's to be seated at 4 o'clock. We're going to begin the proceedings officially and promptly at 4:30. Right next door, adjacent to Ravenel's, there's a nice car park there. We're cleaning the grounds right now, cutting the grass and so on, and preparing it so that your cars could be parked safely there. Security is going to be provided to ensure that your property, your limb and your life would be secure and safe. We want to ensure that once we arrive, we enjoy the entire proceedings. It will be a period of jubilation for the entire family.
Some people are of the perspective that the Tobago People's Party has no place in contesting a national elections. What's your response to that?
I think that's a wonderful question. We must have a place in contesting the national elections. The fact that the two positions that we've had, the MPs for Tobago West and Tobago East, have taken a party position on many positions such as autonomy for Tobago and stalled it and stymied it and delayed it, has affected our lives as Tobagonians in a very negative way. Today, people are celebrating Down syndrome by wearing rocking your socks items. But in reality, anybody can become disabled at any point in time. You may lose a limb in an accident or so. What are the systems and the facilities in Tobago to be able to provide these expensive prosthetic limbs to persons? We do not have enough funding coming through our DP system in order to support families by giving them financial aid that exists in the United States and in different kinds of countries. Autonomy and the amount of money that you get every year around September when we have the budget impacts all of our lives. The people who are seated at the table in Parliament include a Tobago East representative and a Tobago West representative, MPs, senators. Those persons have to bring forward the situations in Tobago that are affected by policies nationally. So what Tobago actually needs is Tobagonian MPs seated there with a Tobago positioning, understanding the way policies affect our families, our communities, our lives. So we definitely must be there. Our voices cannot be silent in a national election.
And of course, when we look at the candidates who we know for the other political parties, I heard Mr. Watson Duke announced that he's the candidate representing his political party for Tobago East. We know for the Tobago People's Party, it is Mr. Remind me his name.
For the East?
For the East.
We have David Thomas already declared.
Right,
Tomo.
good. And we have for the PNM, Mr. Yana Webster Roy. When we look at the West, we know we have MP Shamfa Kajo Lewis, who is going back in that area, and we know she's a person who has always been on the ground. She's always working her communities and her district, and everybody is waiting to know who's lining up against MP Shamfa Kajo Lewis. So we all wait. Whether you are TPP or not, the information affects us. It has relevance to us who live in this island, whether you're Tobagonian, Trinidadian, it's Trinidad and Tobago. So of course, we all wait to hear that announcement on Sunday. And for those of you who are members, and can non-members come this convention?
Beautiful question. We want everybody there. Once you're physically able, we want you to come. So you can be members, you can be supporters. Apart from those who will be physically there, it's going to be live streamed.
Okay.
So all of the main channels, whether it's Channel 5 Tobago Updates, Radio Tamrin, all of the main streams of media and social media will bring the event live. So we want everybody there. If you're physically located in New York, in Miami, in Italy,
you can still be a part of it
still
virtually.
participate. So
right.
we want everybody there because the message is a Tobagonian message. You mentioned that we're looking for somebody to run against Shamfa. That's not our objective at all.
Okay. So tell us.
Our objective is to dethrone the PNM and all of the pillars that they have left Tobago with, crippled Tobago with. And we are going to be emphasizing that reference that Dr. Keith Rowley made during that airport opening, where he described us as 60,000 crabs in a barrel, who constantly, we song like rah, rah, rah. We don't make sense, we're invisible, we're pointless, we have no direction, and we're encased. The PNM encased Tobago.
Right.
The PNM encased Tobago with a number of policies that were very divisive and policies that led to the underdevelopment of our island and our people. And so the Tobago People's Party is a movement of all persons from all different parties and from places that never voted before, persons who never had any experience in politics. We are a Tobagonian team, and we are coming to take power back for Tobago and to usher what he describes as the crabs in a barrel into a direction of success so that we can all enjoy what it means to be the greatest little island on the planet.
Right.
So it's a call for Tobago to rise up against an oppressive system that can only lead to our continued underdevelopment and disrespect of Tobagonians. So we're not looking at the individuals that we are competing against.
Right, right. Well, you heard it clear and loud from Ann Natasha, second chairman of the Tobago People's Party. And of course, you are all invited to the presentation of their candidates at their convention on Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Be seated by 4 p.m. and it's at Rovenel's Hotel. That's on Storby Local Road. Popular, so I know many of you know where it is. If you're a visitor and you want to stop by, you can just Google it. I'm sure you'll find the directions. So you heard it right here on Tobago Updates Television. And of course, I would encourage you, you know, as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, as a resident of Tobago, to pay attention, whoever your political preference may be. plan to exercise your civil responsibility, and it's a responsibility. Try to be well informed, make up your mind. Don't allow anybody to coerce you in a particular direction and you're not comfortable with, because we know there have been experiences told of persons who may have been in those unfortunate situations. But stand up for whatever you believe in, and remember, at the end of the day, we all have to live here in Tobago. We all have to exist here in Trinidad and Tobago. All right, viewers, so thank you so much for staying with us this morning. We know we started off with a little bit of a technical difficulty, but you stayed with us and we do appreciate it. It is Friday, the start of the weekend for many of us here. Be safe, and yes, I want you to remember you are indeed your brother's keeper, so let us look out for each other. All right, stay safe and have a blessed one.
Passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor, to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying Tobago is number one.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.